that to come out like that. But yeah, good morning. Legs, cardio complete. Super high rep leg day. Absolutely fucking sick. The pump was insane. And I threw this on my Instagram story, and I got a couple messages from it, and they're like, how many sets do you do? Like why are you doing so high of reps? And like, I don't mean it to like come off like this, but like sometimes I genuinely think people are smarter than they actually are. And I think it comes from a lack of empathy, because I think that everyone just has the same level of knowledge as I do when it comes to certain things. And it's just not true. Like, some people ask like what seems to me very easy questions, and I give very simple responses, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, really? Because, for example, somebody asked me about, how many sets I do per exercise or per muscle group or something like that. And I told them per exercise in a given muscle group, I do one set. One set, all out to failure. And then that is always supersetted with some type of isolation exercise to fully take the muscle to failure, and also to increase the amount of volume that I'm doing. Because only doing one set, you're not getting an insane amount of volume unless you, one, superset it, or two, go super light. And today's leg workout was on the lighter side. I didn't do anything over one plate aside for squats, which basically every single person on this planet can do. For RDLs, the most I did was 185, but my RDLs, it was a set of 56. My squats was a set of 84. And like, imagine being under a squat. Like, yeah, 135 pounds is not a lot for squats, but be under a bar for basically 6 minutes straight doing 84 squats. 135 is going to feel like 500 fucking pounds by the 80th rep. And is it an efficient way to train? I think so. I think it is when it comes to the lower body specifically, because if you think about this logically, the lower body, we're on our feet the majority of the day. It's our only two contact points with the ground. We're not animals. We don't run with our hands or walk with our hands too. So that's our only two contact points with the ground. Our legs constantly are being stimulated, very lightly, but they are being stimulated every single day that we walk around, we walk upstairs, whatever. So as a result, when it comes to training your legs are going to respond better to higher volume, because they're accustomed to significantly more stimulus than your upper body is. Because, like I just said, we don't walk on our hands, we don't use our hands. And now, granted, if you have a job that requires it, yeah, but from a general perspective, you use your legs in a day-to-day basis more than you use your upper body when it comes to movement and when it comes to, stimulating them. So, as a result, I've come to the conclusion that legs will always respond better to higher volume, pretty much universally across the board. It's very rare that I make universal statements like that, but this one I truly believe is true because of what I just said. So as a result, my leg training moving forward is going to be I train legs twice a week. So the first session of that week is going to consist of a heavy squat compound, because I do want to still hit those strength numbers like I mentioned to you guys before in countless times, which are 315 bench, 405 squat, and a 500-pound deadlift. I want to accomplish that at some point in my life in the very near future. So, as a result, I'm still going to have a heavy squat day. But outside of the squat, when it comes to legs, that is really going to be my only heavy leg movement over the course of the week, even during both of the sessions combined. Because outside of that heavy squat during the first leg session of the week, even during the same session, my leg extension is still going to be very high reps. My hamstring curls, like you guys saw, are going to be very high reps. My RDLs are going to be very high reps. All the other leg movements that I do are going to be significantly high reps. Realistically, nothing lower than 25 reps. So, as a result, my legs are going to blow up. Like, my legs are going to get genuinely so vascular. I'm going to have veins running down them, and you are literally going to be able to see every single insertion in my quad, and eventually have the feathers of the hamstring as well in the near future, which I'm very excited to show you guys. Now, when it comes to the upper body, I do want to try the same formula, but I'm going to do 1 and 1 instead of just the squat and then kind of like everything else outside of the squat. Everything's going to be higher reps for the legs. When it comes to the upper body, so for example, bench, when it comes to back movements, when it comes to shoulder movements, I'm going to keep them at a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of one movement is going to be strength focused, and then one movement is going to be high rep focused. And the way I'm going to split it is, as I've told you guys before, my style of training consists of everything is supersetted, a compound movement first, which is going to be the strength side of it, then supersetted immediately after with a isolation exercise. And that isolation exercise in particular is going to be very high rep. Same thing as the legs, nothing lower than 25 reps. Not only is this going to give you an insane burn and an insane pump, but I'm telling you, I think it's going to yield absolutely insane results. Now, granted, do you have to train exactly like I do and only do one set to failure? No, because, for example, Jay Cutler never trained to failure in his life, and he's one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. Now, people are going to be like, oh, that's because he took steroids. Listen, people's conceptions of steroids, I am not advocating for steroids, by the way, but like genuinely, people have their perception of what steroids do to you so completely fucked. Because it's like, people think that you just stick a needle in your shoulder and then you wake up with 45 pounds of muscle the next day. No, that's not how it works. You still have to train your dick and balls off. You still have to eat essentially in perfect alignment to what your goals are. You actually have to be even more dialed in when you're on steroids. People think it's the opposite. People think that you can just take steroids so you can just like not have to train as hard and not eat as good because the steroids will just compensate for it and you can still get the physique of your dreams. That's not how it works. If you want to live, because I know people that take steroids, and you actually have to be more dialed in so you don't die. Because yeah, those things are extremely dangerous compounds to put in your body. And I've had extensive conversations with these people who take them, and they have aspirations of competing in various different forms of competition, like bodybuilding shows, powerlifting shows, etc., etc. And they tell me all the time, they're like, dude, I have to take this supplement, I have to take this supplement, I have to make sure I don't lose my hair, so I take Klonopin, I have to take X, Y, and Z for my liver, my kidneys, my heart. Like, I have to take all of these different things just to be able to keep my body like at a healthy state while I'm still putting these things into my body. And you might be asking yourself the question, well, like, why would you even do it to begin with? And it's because that vision for them is purposeful. You know, like competing in powerlifting or competing in bodybuilding, it is a sport. Regardless of what you think, it is a sport. It is a very competitive endeavor, and the unfortunate reality is that when it comes to those things, if you want to be the best in the world at it, if you want to be at the top, it's going to require some enhancements. And the world that we live in now, you know, I feel like these things are starting to become glorified, which, like I said before, I don't promote or endorse any type of, you know, performance enhancing drug. But if the direction that the world's going, where it's almost a requirement in that given field in order to achieve the result that person wants, then I have no problem with it. As long as they're checking all their boxes, they're, you know, making sure they're healthy, they're doing what they need to do, then I think that when they exit that season of their life where they're done competing and they're done performing at their absolute best, and they switch into a new endeavor, like you see these bodybuilders all the time, like when they come off, it's very rare that unfortunately they don't make it past the age of 40 or 50, and it's because they don't take care of themselves, or two, they become so addicted to it that they never come off, and it's just a very scary cycle, downward spiral that results in their premature death. And it's an unfortunate reality, but I truly believe that it's because people's conceptions of it are wrong, and they take these things so that they don't have to train as hard. But in reality, it's the complete opposite. If you do ever have aspirations of competing, if you do ever have plans on taking any type of these things, or if you already are taking some of these things, you need to be even more dialed in than just the average Joe that goes to the gym who wants a good physique, because these things are dangerous, and you need to be able to take your health seriously so that you don't fuck yourself up. But where I'm going with this is that every single person is different. Every single individual is different. Do I think training to failure is beneficial? Yes. Do you absolutely have to do it, and is it an absolute necessity in order to build the physique that you want? No. Because if you find out what works best for you, if you find out the rep range, the set count for the week that works best for you, if you find the exercises that work best for your own unique body, then you can train completely different than everyone else, and you can still get better results than most people because of what I just explained. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to fitness. I just tell you guys what works best for me in the hopes that you guys try what I say, and if it works for you, great. If some of it works, and then in the process of trying it, you find another solution, and you take bits and pieces of what I say, and you inevitably cultivate a plan for yourself that perfectly fits your own unique body, your own unique circumstances, your own unique equipment that you have access to, that is the name of the game. That is why I spill all of this sauce to you guys. It's so that in the process of doing so, in the process of you guys trying what I say, it leads you to the results that you're looking for. Do I think that every single person that watches one of these videos is going to do exactly what I do, eat exactly how I do, train exactly how I do? And they're going to benefit from it just as good as me or better than me. No, that's unrealistic. Because like I said, every single individual is different. Some people may respond better to higher volume. Some people may respond better to lower volume. Some people may respond better to training multiple muscle groups per week and having days off from the gym. I personally respond better to training every single day and training one muscle group per day. So all in all, the takeaway from this rant is that find out what works best for you. And all that I ask is for you to try the things that I say, apply them for a long enough period of time to where you can actually have enough data, trackable data of yourself doing that thing so that you can actually see if it works for you or not. I would say anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks is a good metric to test certain variables. Give it 4 to 6 weeks, track the progress that you make in your strength, in your physique, whatever it might be. See how it works for you. Take the good, leave the bad, plug and play different variables, and eventually, on a long enough time frame, in a couple months, maybe a year, you're inevitably, if you're starting from zero, it's gonna take literally less than a year to be able to find something that you can attach yourself to and something that you can stick to for an extended period of time. And then from there, once you find that thing, you can realistically stick with that general foundation of knowledge for the rest of your training career, for the rest of your life. And then you can just, over the course of time, as you as a man continue to grow and continue to evolve and continue to get better, you can slightly change some of the variables, some of the intricacies, some of the nuances. You can change some of the small things while keeping the foundation the same. And that is what I think is going to result in you making the most progress in the long run. Is not just copying me or copying a professional bodybuilder or copying anybody out there word for word and doing exactly what they do, but taking that baseline level of knowledge and then switching some of the smaller variables and tailoring it to you and your specific body and your specific goals. And that's what I think is going to help everybody in the long run. And that's what this channel and that's what this journey of documenting mine is meant to be.